Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. Today I wanted to show you these 6 watches here. These are watches I haven't shown you before. Now these 2 on the end, these are the MTD 320D watches. Normally, suggested retail $99 on these. I can find them online for somewhere between $65 and $85. But I found them at the outlet store, the outlet.casio.com, for just $50 each. So I ordered those. If you're interested in those, check out the outlet store. I suppose they're available while supplies last. I like these watches. They're not perfect, but you know, for a good budget-friendly watch, that they really have a good heft to them, and they look nice. They each arrived with dead batteries, so keep that in mind. But I was able to change the batteries and get on my way with these. Now these next 3 watches are Edifice watches. Looks like they have sapphire glass for the crystals instead of the mineral crystals. So these are each solar powered. This one here is the EFS S510. And these 2 are different variations of the EQB-501D. So these each will connect to Bluetooth for timekeeping and other functions. So I'll get into all of these nice premium Edifice watches. My plan is to make a new video every Friday for the next few weeks, so watch for detailed reviews on all of these watches. But today, I'm going to concentrate on this G-Shock Square over here. This is the GW-B5600MG for midnight green. There are some other watches in the midnight green collection. This happens to be the G-Shock Square addition to that line. You can see it's a fairly plain color scheme, except just a subtle camouflage here around the face. Otherwise, you know, it's mainly just, you know, black and white or shades of gray with a little bit of green accents on there. Except for the colors, it's really the same as this watch here and this watch here. They all use the same module. These are G-Shock Squares with tough solar, Multiband 6, and Bluetooth connectivity to an app to set themselves to the right time, and also you can do some other setups through the app. So, you know, in many ways, I've already reviewed this watch because I've done detailed reviews on these others. But I'm going to continue to go into detail on this watch because I think you should be able to see it. So the longer I talk about it, the more I'll show this off. Now, when it comes to the G-Shock Squares with Bluetooth, there are several versions available. And if you get into the less expensive versions like these that are made mostly of resin or plastic, well, you find some budget-friendly versions here, but a lot of them have the negative display or reverse LCD, and a lot of people really don't like that. Let's just do a quick side-by-side comparison with a non-Bluetooth G-Shock here. So here you see the negative display, see the light characters against a dark background, and this being the regular LCD. So, you know, at a glance, I think it's easier to see this than it is to see this, especially if the lighting isn't very good, if you're in a dimly lit area or it's evening or something like that. I think it's harder to see the negative LCD. So that's why I prefer the regular LCD or positive LCD, even though there are a lot of different options available from Casio with the negative LCD. I tend to avoid it. A lot of other people do as well. Now, even with the positive LCD, when you get into some of the different color combinations, you might have a little bit of a tint, and some people think that's not quite as clear as this one here that doesn't really have a tint to it. Even this Bluetooth Square here has a little bit of a tint to the background, and some people, they just prefer a really straightforward, you know, high contrast display like this. So for some folks, this might be a really good option if that camouflage bothers you. It's really subtle in normal lighting. So, you know, right now in close-up and bright lights, you know, you can see that in most cases, it just looks dark there, and you really can't see that it's camouflage. So this may be the watch you've been waiting for. Now, there are other Bluetooth Squares that are metal. So they either have a metal bezel or metal bezel and bracelet, and they come in some different color options with or without negative LCD. Those metal ones, as they come from Casio, are kind of expensive, so that's a disappointment to some folks. Some are like limited edition, or maybe they're, you know, titanium or, you know, some other special metals there. So some people avoid those just because of the price. You can buy a conversion kit and turn your regular G-Shock into a metal G-Shock, but it's really not the same as getting one, you know, that comes from Casio already built. So, you know, getting back to this might be the top of the line as far as the Bluetooth squares that you can get from Casio as is, with decent colors and all the features you want. The metal ones and the resin ones like this, they all have the same functions and features and use the same app for setting themselves. It is a different module, so there's a little bit of a difference there. And then again, the materials that they're built out of is different. But if you're just looking for the features and you don't mind a resin, resin materials on the case and the bracelet or the band, then this might be the one for you. Now this one is, I got this from the Japanese market, so it cost about $200 plus a little bit for shipping to get that sent from Japan. The same watch is being released to the European market, so at the end of the model number or name for this one, the Japanese one, it would have like a -1JF. And for the European version, it might be a -1ER or 1AER. So you get that in Europe or the UK, and you might get a better deal than I got from Japan. I just, at this moment when I purchased this, I don't think the European or the UK market was they were quite in stock yet. But you can find the same watch, just meant to be sold in a different market. And maybe you'll save some money. I don't know how many euros or pounds it would cost over there, but try that out if you're super interested. Now, just a quick note on bands and bracelets. This one came with this composite bracelet from Casio, so Bluetooth with composite bracelet. So this is a comfortable bracelet. I like it. There's a slightly different, combi bracelet from Casio. See, that looks like this one. This is an official Casio product, and you can also get a third-party copy of the Casio combi bracelet, and that's this one here. This is much less expensive and much more lightweight, and some people think it's cheap and it won't last. But I've had this for a few months on this watch. The third-party bracelet works okay. This one, it just feels a little bit nicer, and that's from Casio, and then this one here. So I'm considering getting one of these Casio bracelets to put on here, or I might even just go ahead and get one of these El Cheapo, inexpensive, affordable things to put on here. We'll see, but I'll leave it this way for now. Some people have commented that they thought that the strap that comes with this feels soft and nice, a little bit softer and nicer than the standard resin strap from Casio. And it's hard to tell. I think maybe it feels a little bit softer, but not nearly as soft as this is a GW-5000 watch from Japan. It's a little bit different as far as the G-Shock squares go. This is a very soft and supple watch band that came with this one, and this one here is somewhere in between how soft and supple this one is, and and this one that's not quite as much. So you got a lot of options there, but for now I guess I'll just stick with the standard strap. And maybe I'll go with a bracelet later on this guy here. All right, let's get into the details now on this watch. Obviously, there's a lot to like about this. Everything you'd expect from a G-Shock. It's tough. It's water resistant to 200 meters, and then much more. So this has a solar cell around the face of the watch, so it automatically charges the battery supply on this, so tough solder for that. It also has Multiband 6, so it will automatically set itself to the right time, to atomic time, if it's able to receive from any of 6 transmitters in different parts of the world. So there's one in China, there are 2 in Japan, there's one in the United States, one in the UK, and also in Germany. So if you're close enough to any of those 6 transmitters, this will pick up the right time and date and just set itself and always be right, and even make those changes for daylight saving time automatically, all by itself at the right time. If you are out of range from those transmitters, then you have Bluetooth, and this connects to an app called G-Shock Connected. And so through your smartphone or tablet, it will access the time from a source that Casio controls, and you'll get your perfect timekeeping through the app, through Bluetooth. It will automatically try to receive from Bluetooth every 6 hours, about 12:30 and 6:30 a.m. and p.m. if you have it set correctly to do that. And then that'll keep itself synchronized. And again, if it's not using the Bluetooth, tries the Multiband 6, and Multiband 6 will try to receive atomic time information starting at midnight every night. And if it's not successful, it'll try every hour after that for up to 6 times to set itself and keep itself perfectly accurate. So that's the regular timekeeping on this. Of course, you got the day of the week, the date, and the time in AM, PM, or 24-hour mode there. Now, speaking of modes, if I push the button, it's a world time mode, so you can select any time zone you want, and it will show you that other time zone here in the main display, but also your local time will still be available right there. And with this one, you have the option of selecting 5 different time zones for that world time, and you can select any of those and have them showing. So it'll say, well, that's New York, and after a few seconds, again, it will go back to show you the normal local time right there. So great feature there. Alarm, there are 5 alarms. I haven't set them yet, so there they are. It turns out the 5th alarm is a snooze alarm, so it will repeat every 5 minutes for up to half an hour every day, and then it also has the hourly signal, so it'll beep every hour on the hour. You've got that option there. Right here, a stopwatch, and this is kind of nice, a 24-hour stopwatch, and while it's running, you have the local time up there. If I stop the stopwatch, let's see, which button? Okay, it's this button here. I stop it. Okay, it only shows you hours, minutes, and seconds after the first hour, but if I reset it, and for the first hour, it'll show you minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second. So that's your stopwatch. And then there's a 24-hour countdown timer as well. And there you have the, local time up there while it's showing you your countdown timer, whether it's running or whether it's stopped. There you go. Okay. Now, to set it up, you can use the app or you can do it right here on the watch. So if I press the adjust button until things start to blink there, okay, that tells me my home time is the Denver time zone. And of course, you can select any time zone you want for that. I'm in the mountain time zone, so it's the Denver time zone. Daylight saving time, do you want it to automatically change, or you can have it always be off or always be on, but I'll stick to automatic on that. Here again, you can manually set the time. And if you do manually set the time, it will be replaced by the real time that is received either from the app or from Multiband 6. But you can still manually set the time on here. Hours, minutes, and seconds. You have, let's see, the date as well, and that can be changed by the time that it receives. Here you can select 12-hour or 24-hour timekeeping. And here, this is kind of nice for some folks. It'll show you the date format, either month and date, or you can switch that around and have date and month. So in some parts of the world, the preference is different there. Here, English, so you have some different language options for the day of the week that shows up on the main timekeeping screen. So I'll change that to Español or Spanish for now. Key, so every time I press a button to change modes or to start and stop a stopwatch, that sort of thing, you'll get a little bit of a beep. So it says key there, or I can change that to mute. And now I got that little mute symbol there. And now it won't make noise every time I press a button, but it will still make a sound at the end of a countdown timer, or if you have the hourly signal set to go, or if your alarm that you've set is turned on. You still get sounds, but it mutes the sound for all the other times you press buttons. The backlight, you can have it remain on for 2 seconds or 4 seconds. Some people like to keep it short to save battery power, but since this is rechargeable, I'll go ahead and leave it on the longer duration, 4-second backlight for when I press the backlight button. Here you can activate or deactivate the time reception on here, and then you've got the power save function. So what this watch will do after 10 p.m., if the watch is not moving or if it's in a dark place, after about an hour, the display will go blank, and it will remain blank to save power. The display will come back on if you press any button, or if you move the watch, kind of shake it a little bit, or if you put it in a well-lit area, the display will come back. But anytime between 10 p.m. and about 6 a.m., if it's left in the dark and it's not moving, then the watch is kind of thinking, oh, no one's using me, so I'll go into power save mode. After about a week, if it's still kind of in that sleep mode because you haven't been using it, then it will start to shut down other functions like the alarms and the time reception and stuff like that to save power. So I would recommend, however, don't leave this in the dark. It's really not good for the power supply. So if you're not going to use it, at least leave it in a place where it'll still have some light during the day to keep that power supply charged and healthy. And okay, that's about it for all of that. So all that stuff is, oh look, and that's jueves instead of Thursday because I changed it to Spanish. So a lot of these functions you can, you can set them up and change them and stuff through the app. So I'll show you that in just a moment. The one thing that some people don't like about this is that there's no power meter on here. So let's just compare it to, say, this G-Shock here. So down here, that shows you the power level on the battery, low, medium, or high, right? So that some people, they miss seeing that right here on the display. It will show up in the app, but there's no way that this watch will show you whether the battery is low, medium, or high on the watch. You have to use the app for that. So, it doesn't bother me because, if you just wear the watch and, if you don't leave it in a drawer for 6 months with no light, then the power supply will be just fine. If you're in, the medium or high power state, everything works great. If it gets down to a low power state, then some of those functions start to deactivate to save power. Like, for example, atomic time reception. And if it gets in a really low power state, actually the buttons won't do anything until you charge it up. But I would say, you're probably not going to have that issue if you just use the watch or, just like I said, don't leave it stuck in a drawer for months at a time. You'll be just fine. All right, let's show you the app. Okay, so the app is called G-Shock Connected, as I mentioned before. If you've never used the app before, it's going to start up and prompt you to agree to all the user license stuff and, some things about location services and all that sort of thing. But if you have used it before, it kind of comes up to a screen like this. So what I need to do is there's a symbol up here on the upper left that looks like a watch with a kind of connection icon there. So if I tap on this, then down at the end of this list, it says connect to a new watch. And it has a list of all the different G-Shocks that use this particular app. This one I'm going to connect now happens to be at the bottom of the list. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. And then I'm going to hold the mode button down. And it's going to prompt me to keep holding that until it's ready to connect. And okay, there I go. Now I see that the Bluetooth symbol is flashing there. And the app now recognizes the watch and says, I want to register the watch to the app. So I'll go ahead and tap there. And it's going to take just a moment to connect. Tells me the time zone data was updated. And, I click yes. And so here I am. Now, this, what I'm looking at here is controlling this watch. So right here, I can choose a different time zone for one of my world time zones. So I'll tap here on, say, the fifth one for New York. And instead of New York, maybe I want to choose something else. So I can either go up here to the search box and I can type in the name of, some other place, like La Paz, Bolivia. Okay. And I can set that, send that to the watch. And now it'll take a moment to confirm that it's sending that to the watch. And now, once that's done, then that fifth one on the list for my world time zones will now be La Paz, Bolivia. Or, here's another thing I can do with some of the major cities on the map. I can tap there again instead of doing a search in the search box. I can just kind of, zoom in and out on the map, and I can choose a different spot on the map. Like, let's say, okay, let's make it Cape Town, South Africa. Go ahead and send that to the watch. And again, that's another way you can do it through the app. So, you actually get more cities that you can choose through the app than you would if you were doing it just on the watch. But you can choose the same time zones using the watch and bypassing the app if you want to. Also down here, you can quickly switch your world time zone with your home time zone. And so my home time zone is Denver. I can choose whichever one of these I want to switch. So I'll just say UTC. It takes a moment. It makes that switch. And then you'll notice I needed to tap the send button. And now the switch has happened. Okay, so over here, that's Cape Town, South Africa now. And up here in the app, it's Denver for my first world time zone. So, you can do that there. Okay, I'm going to hit the other tab here, time and place. Gives you a little warning that in some countries, GPS stuff may be subject to local laws. Okay. But here, it'll actually save the time and place when I've made these connections to the app. So it's a good way to kind of keep a log of where you've been and when you were there. And if I tap on here, there's no data yet because, I just haven't had it connected long enough. But there will be a list on here of the places you were when you made the connection there. So that's kind of a nice little addition there if you have your location services activated in the app. Okay, alarm. Here you can set the alarms using the app, and this may be more a quicker way to set the alarms, depending on, if you think it's quicker this way or using the buttons on the watch. So there I've just activated my first alarm to go 6:30 every morning, and it's on, it's ready to go. I can activate the hourly signal here, and each time you make a change, it will prompt you to send that change to the watch, officially sending it. The countdown timer, here, you don't control the countdown timer from here, but you can set the duration of the countdown timer from here. So the next time you start it up on the watch, it'll be the duration you set through the app. And that might be, again, easier to do through the app than on the watch. As far as I know, this reminder function is something you cannot set up on the watch. You have to do it through the app. So let's just say we'll make a reminder here. And let's just say that, okay, we'll just go with the default today's date there. And we'll say the title of this is, edit video, because I need to edit the video I'm making now. So that'll give me the reminder. I'm going to turn that on there and send that to the watch. And now the watch will acknowledge that there's an active reminder there. And you can see REM for that. And okay, so that's how you've got 5 different reminders you can set up. And there are options for these reminders, whether you want it to be on a specific date, if you want it to repeat, if you want it to be only once, repeat every year or every month, you've got that option there. If you'd rather have it be, a certain duration, a certain period, you can say, I'll start that today and have it run for, through next month. So you'll have the reminder, for that entire duration. Or if you want a specific day of the week and have a reminder, say, every Friday, and that would be, edit the video or release the video, whatever, So those are the kind of reminders you can set up through the app. And if I tap on this gear icon here, then I've got some additional functions I can set up through the app. So there's my watch that I've got right there. And maybe I'll change the name of the watch on the app. I will call this Midnight Green, and that will distinguish that from the other watches that also connect to this app. So I know that Midnight Green is connected here, but also if I go in here, I've got some other functions that I can set up through the app. So there's a phone finder function. So if you tap a button on here, it'll make your phone make a noise if you're looking for your phone. Here you can have it report and kind of keep track of how it's connecting the app to all of my watches that happen to be on this list here. Now here I can set up things like 12-hour or 24-hour display. I can do the month, day, or day, month setting here. I can change this language back to English on the day of the week, and you can see as I sent that over there, it just immediately changed to Thursday instead of jueves, because I changed it back to English. Here I can, again, this is where I can have the button operation tone, that key or mute is setting that you could do there. Here, when the app is connected to the watch, if you want to save battery power by not leaving it connected too long, you can either have it connect for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. And what it does is basically it's a timeout, so that when you don't, it could be connected, and if you're not pressing any buttons, after 3 minutes it'll automatically disconnect, or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, and that might save some power on your devices. Okay. Time adjustment, you can have it automatically change or not. And here, light settings, this is where you can set it to go either 2 seconds or 4 seconds for when when you press the light button or the automatic light. So there's a little sensor in here, and when you tilt the watch towards yourself, it will automatically turn on the light if you selected that, and also if the watch is in a dark enough spot. If it's in a well-lit area like this, tilting it up towards yourself, it's not going to turn on the light, but you do have that automatic function if you want it. Okay, here you can have power saving enabled. So as you can see, you've got a lot of things that you can set up through the app that might be easier to set than it is using a combination of buttons on the watch. One last thing I'm going to do before I disconnect this, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to change my home time back. I'm going to swap UTC and Denver again and put this back to normal, and I'll be ready to use the watch. Okay, that's telling me that it's going to be 9:51 here instead of 3:51. I'll send that setting to the watch, and it just takes a moment. And there I go. Now my local time, the Denver time zone, is showing there. So kind of an overview of everything you can do on the watch and on the app. Like I said, the only thing I think that you need the app to do, and you can't do it on the watch, is setting that reminder, and also use the app to see the power level on the watch there. Otherwise, almost everything you can do without the app if you choose not to use the app. But it is kind of nice to have the app as an option. And sometimes it's easier and faster to set things up. Now let's just do a quick demonstration on that backlight. If I tilt this up towards myself, backlight automatically comes on, and after a few seconds, oh look, it kind of had that little red, it blinked red at the end. So that's kind of fun where it blinks that red thing. And what does that red blinking mean on there? Well, that means there's an active reminder. Remember when I set that reminder earlier using the app? Okay, that's reminding me by blinking red when the light comes on. And yeah, what was that again that I was supposed to be reminded of? Okay, if I'm here in the regular timekeeping screen, if I just tap the adjust button, then it shows me up there. Oh yeah, edit video. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Right here it has a button marked receiving, so if I just tap that, then it actually tries to connect to the Bluetooth, and here on the app, it actually shows me, okay, yes, it's taking a moment to connect and update the time. And now that I've done that, actually, let's go back to the app there where time and place, and now it'll show me last place I was and when that connection was made, and actually shows my location on the map. That's my home. And then the last few times I've done it, it actually shows me those as well. So again, that's a nice way to kind of track where you've been if you activate the location services on the app. So since the app was ready for that, all I had to do was tap that receiving button. Now if I hold this down, this is where it'll activate Multiband 6, so I can receive the atomic time information from Multiband 6 by holding that down. And it takes a few minutes to process that. So you do have those options down here. Level 1 reception, that's not as good as level 3 reception is the best. So I don't know, I've got all my video gear and things going on. It's not really ideal. This works better overnight, but okay. And even told me, hey, error, I can't do this right now with all your video gear around. But that's how you would manually tell it to start receiving from WW-B or whichever atomic time transmitter is closest to you, by holding that button down. So anyway, that's about it for now. I realize I haven't really shown you the back of the watch. It's similar to the other ones I've shown you before. So a nice, looks like a nice machined piece of metal there with 4 screws to hold the back on. With any luck, you'll never have to take that back off, at least not for at least a decade. Now, my oldest tough solder watch that's still running is going 15 years without ever having to open up the back of it, because it's been recharging its own power cell for all this time. So anyway, that's all for now. I'm going to have more videos coming up soon. I'm going to review those other watches in detail. So please stay tuned for more episodes of The Good Timekeeping Show.